Okay, we're back. I think everything is good. I think Comcast literally went down, and for some reason my dongle went down. No idea why. But we are back in business, I do believe. I don't know what's up. Yeah, everything just died. So let's see if this works. Hopefully it'll be okay. I have to switch Wi-Fi networks probably, but we will make this happen. All right, let's get this show back on the road. Let's see here. Okay. We have Wi-Fi. We are good. Chris, thank you. Thank you. Everyone actually came back on. Okay, let's see if we can't get this thing back on the road. Let's go ahead and give away some course tickets. Actually, let's go ahead and give away landscape business course. So whoever calls in next is going to get a free lifetime access to landscape business course. So feel free to call in if you have a question, and then you will be the lucky winner of landscape business course. Let's see here. Why? Everything is just down today. I don't know what's up. We are in a snowstorm. I got to give some credit there, but everything is running very slow in terms of Wi-Fi and everything. So I apologize if it's all messed up. I just, don't know why. So if you have a question, all right, let's get the first one here coming from a 602 number. Welcome to the show. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. How's it going?
Pretty good, you?
Good. And what's your question?
Yeah, so me and a couple of friends actually just started our landscaping company a couple months ago, and we're just starting it up, getting a couple of recurring customers on our schedule. But I mean, it's our first winter. I know it's gonna slow down, but do you have like any advice on how to handle it? Because like our business has gone, we started off good over the summer, but now it's like dropping a lot.
Yeah, like, as you get more and more recurring customers, the goal is to try to get them to stay on recurring services throughout the winter. That's always the dream, right? And so we can usually get between 60 to 80% of our mowing customers to convert into what we call winter services, where we still come to their property every week, or every 2 weeks, etc. But until that time, like, I would really recommend you just basically got to get very creative with what other services you can offer. They can still trim most bushes. Gutter cleanouts, great option. Potentially even doing things like gravel or mulch install, but most people aren't thinking about those things. So you really just got to get creative. Like the gutter cleanouts can be, I know some people, like, for example, we just, at Augusta, we just made our newsletter for gutter cleanouts, because a lot of times after January 1st is when it really dies off, because October, November, December, you got leaf cleanups, bush trimming, people wanting their house to look good for the holidays, Thanksgiving, all the rest of it. Yep. Well, then after January 1st, it dies off hard. So something like gutter cleaning might be a good option for you. Have you done those before?
So I'm actually in Arizona, and we don't really have a lot of gutter cleanings, especially the areas that we target. We don't have a lot of gutters. It doesn't rain over here. So what we've been trying a lot is tree cleanup. We like target just normal trees and then palm trees. That's what's keeping us afloat right now. Mm-hmm. And then our recurring customers that we got the rice seed with. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, what's nice about in your area is you don't necessarily have a winter necessarily. So you should be able to, I would really try to lean into projects a little bit more. And I know like you've probably been doing mowing, but when we say projects, like it can be a whole host of other things in terms of whether it be, installing gravel, taking out lawns is something is something to think about in your area. And that's the only reason why I really like projects, is to fill in the times when mowing does slow down. Right. So I would lean into the project side of things a lot more. And what's really cool is because you called in, you're going to get a free membership to Landscape Business Course. So if you could email me at landscapebusinesscourse@gmail.com, and then I will give you access code to get into that. And I think that'll help too as you kind of grow the business and make it more legit.
Okay. And then what email do I send that to?
Yeah, it's just landscapebusinesscourse@gmail.com. Do you got that? It's in the description of your of the video too.
Okay, awesome. And right there, because another thing that we've been struggling with is also marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That'll show us how.
Yeah, they'll give you a lot of different ideas in terms of just templates and what to do, what not to do. And when you're first getting started, a lot of it is you have a lot of time and not a lot of money. So it's going to be more of that, hand-to-hand combat, knocking on doors, doing door hangers. But then it'll also kind of talk about, advertising from Facebook, Google, all the rest of it. So I think you'll enjoy it, and I'll send it over to you later today. Just email me so I can get that to you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for everything.
You got it. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. Next
Yeah, bye.
caller is from, let's see here. Next caller is from Spokane, Washington. Let's see, pull in. Hello, Spokane, Washington. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Yeah, I was just had a question. Like, is there like a certain number that I should be spending on marketing? My business should be spending on marketing.
How big is your business now, like in terms of revenue?
Well, gross, we just did a little over 1 million.
Okay. And do you do mostly snow plowing over in Spokane, or kind of a mix of that and then landscaping during the summer?
Yeah, it's mostly just mowing in the summer, and then just very minor landscaping.
Got it. And then are you wanting to grow top line revenue, or are you just trying to like be more profitable? What's kind of like the goal for the business? Growth, or are you getting out trying to get out daily operations? Like, what's the goal?
I'd say the goal is more trying to grow a specific division. Like, I feel like we do a lot of mowing, but I want to grow more of like the spray side of it.
Cool. And then how many mowing customers do you currently have? I'd imagine a couple hundred at least.
Yeah, probably around 200-300 weekly clients.
And have you marketed them yet when it comes to the spraying and the treatment side of things?
Yeah, I just started doing because a lot of my customers are big HOAs, big commercial properties. I'm just starting to get more into the residential side of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got you. Okay, so when you say 200 or 300, are those like a lot of HOA properties then?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, a lot of HOAs, a lot of big businesses.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I would recommend, because I like the sequence of going from mowing into the spraying treatment side, because you really immediately you should be able to market to a lot of your existing mowing customers and convert a lot of them into treatments because you're already on their lawn. You already have done work with them. Treatments is a relatively easy upsell for a percentage of people that actually want their lawn looking, really, really nice. So I would really focus, especially that first year, to kind of kick things off. Like if you're doing even, let's say 400,000 or 500,000 in revenue just for mowing. Let's just say, for example, there's just no reason why you can't immediately have 150,000 in spraying and treatments just by marketing to your existing customers. Because there's always a subset of them that are going to want spraying. And it's such a high margin service that it's relatively easy. Like I would put together a couple packages. I would send them an email with a couple options with a button for which one they want. And then, make a really low hanging fruit one. Like for example, you could say, hey, if you want, one spray in the spring for weeds, click this button. If you want a 4 treatment package with all these other things with aeration and detachment, whatever, here's like a 9 or 10 step program that's going to be like the end all be all of treatments. And then just literally just have a button for them to click, or potentially have some other way for them to communicate what they want. And that usually will convert pretty big. However, you have a lot of HOAs, so I'm assuming that's a lot of stuff in the contract. Am I right on that?
Yeah, yeah. We do a lot of spraying already for those clients. We did pick up I'd say probably 150 residential clients this year alone, and we've slowly converted a few of them, but not as much as I wanted to.
Yep. Did you do any sort
A
of
lot of them
like
were kind of
email?
like, well, we're already.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, like a lot of the residential customers we picked up, they were like, oh, we already have a spray service, so I'm hoping this year I can convert a little bit more of those.
Yeah, I just try to beat
But
those other companies to the punch. So right when you're telling them, hey, we're going to start mowing, let's just say April 1st, I would send at the beginning of like March and just say, if you want to add on your treatment package, click these buttons below, or give us a call, or however you want to do that, and just try to get that easier upsell at the beginning of the year. But residential is an easy drop sell into treatments. Like, and are you going organic, or do you have your certification? Like, what's kind of your pitch for the spray side of things?
yeah, we're certified, so we kind of do a little bit of everything. We don't really do much organics, but
Yeah, so it's just a matter of like I just really focus on creating those packages, and then I try to upsell the existing customers. Then it's a matter of, okay, well, how do I get new customers for just treatments, right? But I would really go after your low-hanging fruit first, which is you've already done business with them, you already do their lawn. But then even if you look at your database, you probably have a couple thousand, I would imagine, emails and contacts. Like that's again just another massive opportunity that I would go after before I spend a single dollar on marketing. Is how do I send them an email? How do I send them a newsletter? How do I do something to convert them into the treatment side? Because that's going to be your lowest hanging fruit, and that would immediately, I think, do 150,000 revenue just by trying to upsell them before I go spend money on actual ads to get cold leads to become, customers for this treatment side. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Cool. Are you able to make it to Landscape Summit this year? I know you're relatively close, but you also have snow, like the whole pass and everything.
Yeah, no, we're not going to be able to. Yeah, we've already, just in the last week, we've already had like 4 or 5 snow systems, so we're staying busy.
Oh, good. Well, stay in touch with me. Let me know how that goes with the rollout. But I'd say double down on the low hanging fruit of not just your mowing customers, but also just people in your database. Because at your size of business, you have so many people in your database that are warm that you've either done business with or even they just asked for an estimate. So I would really exhaust that before I even try to go into, getting more ads or advertising of any sort to get new customers.
Okay, definitely. Will do, man.
You got it, brother. Take care. Have a good one.
Awesome. Thanks. You too. Bye.
All right. Next up in the calling queue, the call list is now full. So if you call in, it might just say busy, but I'll just keep pounding through these. Next one is from Herndon, Virginia. Let's go ahead and bring them in the show. Welcome. How's it going?
Hey, Mike. How you doing? It's Carlos.
Good. What was your name?
Carlos.
Carlos, welcome.
Hey, man. Hey, I just had a question. We've talked before. I don't know if you remember me. I just had a question. I asked you just right now about, for like the general manager, like percentage, how much you would give a percentage, from the net profit, like on a quarterly basis.
Yep. Yeah, so I do anywhere from 5 to 25% for general managers in terms of profit sharing on a quarterly basis, and that really varies based upon how involved I am, right? So if someone, if I was an owner and one of our franchises like, hey, how much should I give this person? They're really, really good. They're kind of like my second in command. They do a lot of project management. They do some estimates maybe for me. I'd be like at 5% if I am there every day working 40, 50 hours. If I'm out in the field doing stuff like that, that's where I would be at. Whereas if someone is like a couple of my general managers run the entire thing themselves, they do all the marketing, all the hiring, they do all the project management. They talk to me, occasionally, but not very much at all. Then they're going to be at 25%. So it's really gauged by how much involvement I am in the business. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because I had a guy that he was actually really happy this year because he got P for P, and so he was like, okay, well, and I offered him like $1,000 a week, but he said, okay, well, with P for P, I end up making more than that, at least in the springtime. But kind of like, he like, let's say like at the end of the year is pretty much maybe 25 to 30,000. But if he were to make 1,000 per week, that would be 48,000. So but it still wasn't like interesting to him. So he really likes the bonus thing. So how would I kind of make it so that it sounds interesting, that offer?
So are you saying that you basically the percentage you're giving him is not appealing, like it's not high enough for him to be interested, or are you giving him or like he either has to do P for P or profit sharing?
Well, no, I mean, I had told him that, it'd be 1,000 a week. And I had told him he just didn't really know how much percentage he'd be making. But, if I said 25%, he'd probably be, very interested. I just want to make it so that he's interested, because he had said he wanted like 1,400 a week. And that just sounds like a bit much.
Yeah, well, it just depends. Like if he's mowing out in the field doing laborious work, it's probably a lot. But again, that's why P for P is important, because if he wants to make 1,400, great. You got to go kick butt every single day in order for that to happen and be worth it. Now, if he's a manager and he's doing estimates and things like that, then I have to ask the question, like, why is it so complicated in terms of our systems that we need someone to pay them $1,400 a week to go do estimates, right? Or to project manage? Like, we've got to simplify the systems if we're going to ever be able to pay a salary that we're going to actually be profitable on. Because paying someone $1,400 a week, and you have, how many employees do you have? 5, 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, like 5 or 6 employees.
Yeah.
And then an owner, and then if someone making $1,400 a week, that business will not be very profitable. And so, like, then there's not going to be any profit sharing to be had, right? Profit sharing only comes about if the business is profitable, right? And so, you don't want to hang out profit sharing in front of people like dangling a carrot in front of a horse, and they never get it. It makes you sound stupid because you're always trying to incentivize them with something that doesn't exist. So when we implemented profit sharing, it was only after we were very consistently profitable. Where I knew every quarter there'd be profits. That's why I instituted it, because otherwise it's just hot air that you're telling employees, like, oh, you're gonna get this profit sharing. We should care about how we do efficiency because profit sharing. Like, it doesn't mean anything. There's an actual number. And so I would really be encouraging you to do one of two things. Either A, if you really want this guy and he's going to be an all-star down the road, you believe that he could potentially run the whole business, then it's a matter of, okay, well, then maybe do I sacrifice short-term profits and give him $1,400 in a week so that down the road I can leave the business. But I wouldn't be paying someone $1,400 a week as base salary in a management position unless I was doing $2 million a year in revenue. Because I would want the majority of their pay to be performance-based.
So if he was just working as a general manager, pretty much doing the tasks I do, estimates and, just pretty much what I'm doing right now, do you think it would just be a good, $1,000 at 25% net percentage per quarter?
It just depends on what because you're going to be the only person that knows what that 25% actually is going to entail. And the problem and the legitimate argument he's going to have is that you can go buy a truck and eliminate the profit immediately. So it's really still a very subjective profit sharing is very subjective, right? And so if you have the ability to go buy a truck at the end of the quarter and wipe out profit, like, you're going to lose all trust with him. But on the flip side, the business needs it. So, like, it's a very subjective thing, profit sharing is. And that's why P for P and something else besides profit sharing needs to be the driving force of a business if you're making the decisions. Now, for example, when I'm giving 25% of profit to a general manager, they make the decisions, right? So if they are going to buy a truck, they know it's going to hurt them in the short term, but it's going to set them up for bigger growth down the road, which will lead to more profits, and they're thinking more long term. So if you're making the decisions, you're basically able to manipulate their profit sharing. And that's not, in my opinion, very good for an employee, and it's not good for you. And usually there'll be friction there, right? So when a manager comes to me like, hey, I want to buy something, it's like, hey, it's up to you. Like, you know the ramifications on your short-term profit sharing, but you also know that could potentially set you up for bigger growth, right? So I think it's just the balance that you as the owner, I would recommend, if this person is not willing to do P for P out in the field, and is not willing to go work out in the field, like, I don't think your business is ready for it. If you only have 5, 6 employees and you're looking for someone to come manage the whole thing, or if he's just helping you now, like, then he should be on a lower salary.
Okay. So you're saying, like, if he were to manage the whole thing, it would be a salary, like, let's say like $1,000 a week.
I would do 1,000 a week and then profit sharing. And if he's running the whole thing, because I know your situation is somewhat, Carlos. And so, if he's going to run the entire thing for you, I would start him at 1,000 per week. I don't ever want my base to be more than that. I want everything in addition to that to be bonus, and I want it to be based upon profit. And again, though, that's him running everything. That means the chunk of his paycheck, a big chunk of it is coming from his decisions to whether to grow, to market, to hire. And if you're making those decisions, it's very counterproductive because you can manipulate what that profit is on a quarterly basis.
And so when he says, "Oh yeah, but sometimes I'll be working like 60 hours and it's at 1,000," that means I'm only making
That's why I don't like salary.
Very little.
That's why I don't like salary. I'd still keep people on hourly. I keep people on hour. There's only one person let me try I'm saying that right. There's only one person out of all of my businesses that is on salary. I still want hourly. So when they work really hard and they work overtime, they're getting overtime. And if I need to move their hourly rate up, let's do it. But I'm going to make sure that it's hourly. So the harder they work, the more money they make. And then I'm going to put at the much as possible based upon performance.
And you would pay a general manager hourly?
So take that back. You're right. I misspoke that. My general managers are on salary plus profit sharing. So you're 100% right. I forgot about my general managers. So they are on salary,
Okay.
but they make all the decisions of the business, right? So if they want to take off for the week, they can. Like they don't ask me like, oh, I need to have a vacation this week. They don't ask me. It's up to them 110%, but they're making that decision knowing that's going to hurt them in the short term on profit sharing, right? So that's
Gotcha.
the only way I'd put someone on payroll or like on salary is if I completely trust them to make up any schedule they want and do anything in the business without my involvement. If they have to ask for vacation time, I don't really feel like they should be on salary. That's just my opinion. They should only be on salary if they make all the decisions in the business and they can determine when and where and what they do. So that's just, my general managers and one other person is the only person that would ever be on salary.
So pretty much your general managers have as much freedom as you did when you were in that same position?
That's what I want a general manager to do. I want them to feel like it's their business, because if I'm giving them 25%, a quarter of all profits, and they don't have to take any of the upside, the risk on the upfront, if I'm giving that much to them, I want them to treat it like their own, right? And there's just no way you do that by saying like, okay, you got to ask me when you're off and give me times. So I give them a ton of liberty, just like go for it, right? You're going to get a base salary, which is not very much for a general manager, but the opportunity to make 6 figures is there in 2 years if you execute. And then that's the tension. If they want to go take a 4-week vacation, okay, that's fine, but you're not going to get any profits this quarter probably, because you're going to probably not be around, and that's going to hurt you this year. So like it's their decision then, right? And that's when it comes down to my prerogative is I either hire them or I fire them, and that's my decision. So if they're not working out, they're not pushing it, then I go fire them, right? But at your size of business, Carlos, I would not be looking for a general manager if you're going to be there. If you're going to leave, I'd be trying to get as low a base salary as possible with a higher upside for them. And if you want to tie that to other metrics besides profit, because they're not super profitable, I'd just be very cautious, but that might be what you need to do if you are in a pinch where you have to leave, because you just do not want someone that is in a management position not thinking about the bottom line only.
Gotcha.
You have a Merry Christmas. Stay in touch with me though. Like, if we're going to talk a lot about at conference, and when it comes to multiple locations, that's one of the breaking points is you have to essentially, have to get a general manager, and you have to put someone on salary. You have to put. So I talk a lot about conference. We're talking about doing multiple locations, and then in P4P, I talk a lot about profit sharing. So the book is coming out. It's not for sale or anything. So let's go ahead and go to the next caller from Victoria, British Columbia. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. All right, we're live. How's it going?
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Good. You guys got some snow? You guys got snow there?
Out here.
You got any snow there today? We got snow coming down.
We're getting snow. Yeah, getting snow here over the weekend, over Christmas. That's where my first question comes in. So I wanted to get your thoughts on, I'm trying to convert some of my clients to contracts, and for us, we get like very little snow. So I was wondering your thoughts on including like free snow removal.
Yeah, what I would do, especially in your market, because you're similar to ours, is try to get your recurring mowing services on winter services, and then just include it. Like, hey, if there's snow on the ground, we'll plow or we'll salt. And then that way you could keep them on more of a contract that's more consistent. Because like in our area, I know your area and my area, people are not used to paying a contracted price at the beginning of the year for all of their snow plowing. That they're just not used to it. Whereas if you go to like Ontario, Michigan, they're like, hey, I'll pay $2,000 up front, and then you got to come whenever there's snow, basically. In our market, it's just not like that, right? So if you want more recurring work, you've got to try to figure out, how do I sell to my mowing customers a winter service where I still come on a weekly, bi-weekly basis, and I either trim the bushes, pull the weeds, check the gutters, trim bushes off the house, pick up branches, blow out the bushes, blow out the leaves out of the beds, And then if there's snow on the ground, I'll shovel it and I'll salt it, right? So that's what direction I would be trying to take it from if you're focusing on residential.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my first winter in business, so I'm trying out the snow removal thing, but I'm also over the winter working on writing up some contracts for my clients and expanding on that.
Very cool.
I got a couple more to fire off on you real quick here.
Go for it. And
so I'm a younger guy.
I wanted to you're gonna get the full subscription to Lawn Care Media. So that has all of the door hangers, the flyers, the postcards, all those designs. So if you could just email me once you get off the call, landscapebusinesscourse@gmail.com, I will get you set up with that, and that will set you up for next spring for sure.
That is awesome. And thank you so much, Mike. That will help me out with, I have so many expenses coming up on website building and all this other stuff too. GST and all that. But yeah, for younger guys, like, I guess you're a little bit older than me. I'm 23, but what are your thoughts on hiring older guys? I've been having trouble trying to find experienced guys who are young, and I just don't want to hire someone who's a lot older than me and end up butting heads with them, or they not listening to me or wanting to do things their own way when I have horticulture experience through college and I've been doing this for 8 years, and I'm just worried about if I hire someone older than me, they'll kind of look down on me in a way.
Yep. So I dealt with this, for a long time. And it's only now that some of the people that we hire are younger than me. That being said, I'm no longer doing the hiring, to be perfectly honest. So I know it's like when you're actually the one interviewing, doing all of that, and you're hiring people that are twice your age, right? Like I've done that. So the thing is this: if you think about it and you make it a big deal, that's when it becomes a big deal for them, right? That's just my opinion, right? Probably wrong, but like for me, I just never thought about it. It never was a big deal in my head. I never never talked about it. I never got nervous about it. Like I had to deal with it all throughout school though, because I was 13, 14 years old going to college. So but it never came a big deal to me because my parents never talked about it. They never made a big deal of my age. And so I just thought it was very normal, and I never talked about it with students and things like that. So I think it's your level of maturity. And, people might know your age, but if you're mature, you speak like a good leader, you have team meetings, you know your numbers, you're organized, you work hard. That's what people want to see in a boss, in my opinion. They're not really too concerned about your age.
Yeah.
Like when they get their W-2 at the end of the year, with how much money they made for the year, it does not say your age on there. It just says how much money you gave them, right? And that's what they're usually going to be concerned about. And typically, if someone's super insecure about your age, it's probably not going to be a good fit for you either way. Like even if that person if you were older and then it would work out, there's probably gonna be other insecurities that would lead to them not being a good leader down the road for a management position. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I got one more. What should I be worried about if I've expanded so fast over the last year? I've had to turn down a bunch of work, but what were some issues that you had with fast expansion, and what should I be worried about or focused on?
Yeah, I think you got to realize that you're probably more price elastic than you think. Like you can raise your prices without losing customers. And especially if from a financial standpoint, it's been a struggle. Like you've got to realize, how many mowing customers do you have now?
I have some of my work is subcontracted out. I got one guy who he gave me about 15 clients when I first started out. And then I had gotten, my first month, I spent about 500 on Facebook ads, and I got about 40 of my own clients. So right off the bat, within the first few months, I was working, this was right in spring rush. I was working 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, some weeks trying to catch up on all those. But right now honestly, I should do more book works. I probably have around 60 or so regular bi-weekly and weekly mow clients and hedging and whatnot.
Yeah, so I would double down this coming spring. You could easily double that. Like if you just did as good as you did last year, you'd be at 120. So let's just assume though that we go into the spring, and instead of just starting everyone up, just raise everyone's prices $5 to $10 per cut. Guarantee you'll keep 50 out of the 60. Guarantee it. And that $10, whether it's subcontracted or you do it, is going to be literally doubling your profit margin. That's going to give you more confidence to then go actually grow. And now when you grow, your prices are going to be higher, so it'll actually be more sustainable, right? So many of us, we think if we raise our price just a little bit, we're going to lose customers. It's not true. You'll keep more than you think.
Yeah, I should. I've been meaning to. That's something I'm going to do over winter. Once we hit spring, is send out a big email to all my clients, say some changes that are going to happen, and one of them is going to be that raising of prices. Anyway, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but that P4P book, is that coming out to the public, or how do I get in on that? I just have to. I want to come down for the conference, but with COVID and everything and all these other expenses,
Yep. No, the 16th of January, it'll be available on Amazon for ebook, the actual hard copy, and then also the Audible program. So.
Awesome. Audible's my thing. All right, Mike, thank you so much.
You got it, brother. Good to hear a Canadian voice. All right, let's go to, let's see here. There's a couple of you people have been waiting a while. Let's go ahead and go to Shreveport, Louisiana. Gamez, I believe. Gamez? Sorry. Welcome to the show.
Yes, hello. Hey, how you doing?
Good. You sound like you got a lot going on. You got sirens behind you.
Yeah, can you hear me good?
I can hear you. Yep, you're fine.
Yeah, I had to step out a little bit. I was here in line to get my haircut. Hey, man, just a quick question, man. I got the opportunity to hop in this line. I wanted to take advantage of this. And it doesn't come too often that you're here taking calls. So, can you hear me good now?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So, Mike, my question is, we've been in business for a few years, and then last year, we kind of went. I kind of went full time with just me and another guy, and this year, thank God, it's been a great year. We've doubled our profit from last year, and now it's four of us. So it's me and three other guys. And this next year, I'm kind of trying to follow the same trend. Continue to grow, double our profit, and go with instead of being four of us, I want to try to get three to four more guys set up for March. When business really starts to kick in. So I was just trying to get some advice. I've kind of asked a few people, and just just trying to pray about it and make sure that I'm making the right decision, and I have peace in the decision that I make. Because I know it's a really hard decision to make, even though you're growing. It's still, of course, more headache and things to worry about. So I kind of just wanted to get your idea, man. Kind of see what you thought, or what kind of advice you can give me.
Sure. When you say you want to double, last year, were you profitable enough to do that? Like, do you have enough net cash flow right now to be able to go get a couple more trucks? Probably have to upgrade your storage area, things like that.
Yeah, so that's one of our issues now. I mean, we do have the money to buy a few more mowers and two more trucks. Well, I actually have another one, older truck that I'll use for myself, and then I'll just use the truck that I'm using now. I'll put it with one of the crews. So we do have that. I really haven't really added it up what it would take. I know it takes a lot more money, especially having to provide for the cost of labor, for those first couple of weeks until we get rolling. So I mean, one of our things that I look at the most is that we have never advertised any. I mean, this year we probably spent $100 advertising, if maybe $200. And that's just I think we ran a Facebook ad for Christmas lights here in September, and then one before, but we didn't really get much work out of it. So most of our work is coming from word of mouth. So I'm thinking if we can really focus on that and on advertising, on marketing, things like that, I think we could definitely bring in a lot more work.
Yeah, for sure. This is where I'm at, and that is only kind of financially what kind of pressure you would be to get to 2 more trucks, 3 or 4 more employees, etc. I'm of the opinion that when you kind of hit that $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 marker that you're kind of up against right now, that taking 1 year or even 3 months, raising your prices and just really getting cash flow nailed is not a bad idea. It usually will lead to less headache.
Okay.
Because if you go into next spring, let's say, I'm just making up numbers and you don't need to share numbers. So let's just say though you have $40,000, $50,000 cash ready to go. By the time you buy a couple trucks and you go employ a few more people, you're going to be under such financial pressure Even if you go get debt on those things and you got to put some money down or whatever, you're still going to be like your payroll is going to be $10,000 every 2 weeks, right? So you're going to be under a lot of financial pressure,
Right.
which will then usually lead to short-term actions in the business. You'll go get a big project because you're running out of work, and that project you have no business doing. You'll go hire someone that you really shouldn't, but because you bought the 2 trucks, you want to fill them up, and you got all this work coming in. So you start making short-term decisions because financially you've just stretched yourself too thin. So only you can make this decision. And that is, do I just take the first 3 months of next year, March, April, May, I'm going to raise all of my prices. I'm going to really zero in on the services that I want. I'm going to like simplify things. I'm going to actually say no to some of these customers coming in because they're type of jobs I always get into trouble in. I can't let my crew do by themselves. Because when you go from 3 to 4 employees like you have now, you can be on every project that's complicated. When it goes to 7, 8 employees, you can't be. You've got to figure out project management videos so that way you can show them the video of the job before you go. You don't have to show them every single project in person. That's a big step from 3 to 4 to 7 to 8, right? So it's not a bad thing to take 3 months, be like, hey, what services are we going to focus on? Here are the prices we're going to charge. We're going to raise them. That's going to slow down growth a little bit, yes. But now when you go into month 4, 5, when you go into June, July, August, you're going to know what projects you want to do. You're going to have the systems to simplify the business so your employees can do the work without you having to be there. And that's extremely important, right? So I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. Right. I think only you know the financial kind of pressure that growing to that stage is going to bring. Because going from where you're at now to 4 and adding 4 more employees basically will wipe out the profit, the net profit, all from a cash basis for 2022. You doubling the business, getting a couple more trucks, 4 more employees, the amount of equipment you're going to need, you'll basically wipe out your profit, which is fine because you'll double in size of business. The question is whether or not that's going to put pressure on you financially and then personally and in your family to the point where you start making dumb decisions. And that's what I see a lot of times.
Right. Wow. That's so good. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it that way, but I mean, now that you're saying it, I mean, there was pressure this year, with us growing double the size and not really trying to. I think it just came that way, just from the work we were getting. And I mean, that's another thing that I know we have to focus on is just saying no. Like even though the money could be good or whatever, but it's not really our. And I know I've watched videos of you and explaining how we can just focus on the services and those simple services, that doesn't take up a whole lot of knowledge, from people that been doing this for years. And I can see us getting some of that. We've been getting some of that work that I have to be there the whole time, or my brother, which has been helping me out, kind of has to be there because it's just we need more experience,
And so what a lot of times people will do is
I appreciate you.
They will put themselves financially kind of at a thin line because of growth, for the sake of growth, but they don't realize that growth creates bigger problems. And that is going to be the fact that you can't be in every project. There's going to be projects that are complicated that you still can't get to because you've got to go do enough estimates in the day to fill the crew's schedule. So you can't be there. So then things start falling through the cracks. That's when people start like literally, falling apart mentally because they're working so long, so many hours, they're financially stressed out. And so it's not a wrong thing to say, hey, for a few months, we're going to slim back on services, which will reduce demand. And then we're going to raise prices, which will also reduce demand. And then we're going to grow from there in a profitable manner in much more systems and like controlled growth because we know what services we're doing and which ones we're not. And before I let you go, could you email me? I want to set you up with the MBA for Entrepreneurs course that I got, because it's going to help with a lot of the stages like next year and beyond, right? Like really once you start scaling and really some of the more in-depth business stuff. So if you just email me, landscapebusinesscourse@gmail.com, I will set you up with that later today.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. I'll definitely do that, man. I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate you what you're doing for this industry. It means a lot to have someone like you that really shares everything, man. I mean, I know I've talked so much about you with other people here locally in the Shreveport area, and I mean, you're a great person that if you don't know much about. I mean, everything's free. I mean, like your videos, time like this that you're investing, man. It's awesome. And so I'm really appreciate what you do, man, for all of us. I know a lot of people think the same. So keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thanks, brother.
You're
I appreciate
inspiring,
it. You have a very
Merry
Christmas, brother.
All right.
All right,
All
bye-bye.
right, you too. Like, have Russell, man.
Cool. All right, so the call queue is full. I'm going to get to the next question, our next caller. But we got 3 more tickets we're giving away to Landscape Summit. So Warren with an area code of 727, he's going to get a free ticket. David from area code 503, he's going to get a free ticket. And Joel from 778, he's going to get a free ticket. So these are all people that submitted, just they were in need, and viewers of this channel donated tickets. They bought tickets at landscapesummit.co and said, hey, I'll just donate this to somebody. So thank you to everyone who donated. I'm not going to say your names, and I don't think you did it for recognition. So thank you so much, though. And for those of you who are getting free tickets, you guys are awesome. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll hop into the calls. The caller queue is full, though. Let's go ahead and jump into those actually real quick. Next caller is from a 469 caller ID. Let's bring them into the show. Welcome, 469. I don't know your name. I apologize.
It's Justin Drummond down here in Dallas, Texas.
Justin, how's it going?
Hey, brother. Quick
Good.
question. I put on some about the estimators. Your quick opinion on it. I've got an estimator that I pay strictly salary, and what's your take on salary or straight salary based pay? I mean, this guy's out here killing it, and he's making about 15% per job he sells. Everything that he's getting is coming in house through our channels that we market for, and I'm trying to make a few changes to maybe help benefit me more on that side. Just trying to get a quick opinion on what your thoughts on that.
Totally.
Trying
Justin,
to pay somebody
yeah, what's
or commission.
right? What's the revenue total for the business in 2021?
2021, we're peaking about 900,000 this year.
Okay.
Last year, this is our second. Year 1 was 300, and this year is 9.
Awesome. And then you're expecting what in 2022? You're about to say?
I'm shooting over $1 million.
Cool. All right. So, what's your role in the daily operations? Do you do basically everything besides the estimates?
My role in daily operation as of now is to customer service, production, field production, running the jobs. I've kind of put the load on him a little bit. More jobs you sell, more you have to run these jobs, and so I'm trying to push him towards a project manager / estimator.
Mm-hmm. So this is my concern with giving an estimator a percent of the jobs they close. And that is they have perverse incentive to basically sell the job under budgeted. And they're less inclined to worry about the profit. And this is a bigger deal if you start paying your employees based upon performance, because they're going to be paid based upon how many budget hours are on the project. And then I'm also concerned because if they're getting a percentage of, say, 15% of a job, then they're very inclined to go sell a big job and potentially a job that we shouldn't be doing. Go ahead.
That's what I mean. He's making $8 to $10 grand a month. I mean, these jobs that we're getting in aren't 10,000. I mean, they're not 1,500. They're $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 projects that he's making $5, $6 grand every 2 weeks on.
Yeah.
Which I love it. I mean, it's great because I mean, he makes basically how I do it is he puts in the estimate, he does the markups, and I overlook it, and we'll mark up 15 just for his cut before we even get into the actual profit and all of that. So I've worked through the punches of that part. What you're talking about is, you know, really getting into our company part of it, but and he wants it that way. I mean, he wants it the commission way, and it's, you know, if he sells, I mean, it's kind of like being an owner of a company.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
I
just
see.
trying to figure out.
A lot of times I see a big struggle because at your size, you're growing so quickly, and a lot of it's because that's what you're incentivizing. Like, whatever you incentivize will grow and do better, right? If you're incentivizing growth and you incentivize, hey, you get a percentage of sales, they're going to do well in that. If you incentivize them, hey, it's based on close ratio, guess what? They're going to sell more jobs. If you do it based upon how many estimates are finished in a day, they're going to get more estimates done in a day. So whatever you incentivize is going to do really well. So that's why, year one, you did 300,000. Awesome. Year two, you did 900,000. Next year, you're doing over $1 million. That's awesome. The thing is that you're going to run up against is projects that you don't really want, projects that your crew can't really install, jobs are underbid, him wanting bigger equipment because he knows if he can get an excavator or whatever piece of equipment, he can charge more, which he gets a cut of, but that doesn't necessarily mean more profit for the business. So what I'm afraid of is growth to unprofitability because of perverse incentive, right? And so I would, if I was you, and this is me, I would have a really honest conversation around these things like, hey, you do an amazing job. I don't want our relationship to end badly because I'm incentivizing you to do something that could potentially actually hurt the business down the road, especially if you're wanting to switch to P for P. Like, do you do any sort of pay performance for the guys in the field right now, or are they just strictly hourly?
They're strictly hourly. So everybody knows what, I basically pay, this is how I've done it to make sure, I pretty much everybody's salary because of, I know what I'm going to get each day. They know what they're going to get each day because I've done the hourly and it's no kick me in the ass. I've been very, I follow you a lot. I've even reached out to you about Augusta Lawn Care franchise with you. And by the way, I have seen your trucks in Plano, Texas and McKinney. So you're out there, your name is out in Texas, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if salary is what you're going to stay on, this is the challenge is they're going to get paid a certain amount no matter how long a job gets taken. The employee does not care how efficiently that job is being done. They're just there for their salary. Then you have on the other side an estimator who creates how many hours are allocated to that job that does not care that number is high enough. So typically, let's say, for example, you were paying your employees P for P. It would be okay to have your estimator based upon the way you're doing it, because there'd be a perfect tension because your employees would always be nagging your estimator for more hours. So that tension creates a balance. Right now, you have your employees basically they don't really care how many hours are on the job. And then your estimator is just wanting that number to be as low as possible so he can close the deal. Because he would rather close a deal at an $8,000 job and him get 15% than close it at $10,000. But that $2,000 difference is your profit, but he still makes his cut, right? So my concern is that your incentive structure is in a way that as you grow, you'll keep paying more money out, but not necessarily bringing more money to the bottom line.
And that's exactly that. We treated a few days ago. So
yeah,
I appreciate the feedback. And I am interested in the PPP. And
yeah, I want to send you a signed copy. So I know it's not really that great a gift, but I want to send you one in person. I'm going to write inside of it. So if you could just email me, Justin, landscapebusinesscourse@gmail.com. I want to send this to you, and then please stay in touch, because you're at a stage in the business that's actually pretty delicate if you where you're at, because you do really have the incentive structure going two different directions. And I don't want you to grow too much more without fixing some of those up, to be honest.
No, I understand. So it's landscape business course at Gmail.
Yep. And I'll get this over to you because it'll talk about why we do with the estimators at a certain way, how we do the profit sharing, and then it might change your mind on P for P, and then you can sell it to your employees as a way like, hey guys, you guys can make more than salary if you do it this way. So just send me that email and I'll get that over to you.
Hey man, thanks for taking the time out for us guys out here, man. We love your show.
You're awesome. Thanks, brother. Take care. All right, we're going to give away 2 more tickets. The lines are full, but feel free to call in. It'll just keep you on hold, I believe. It might kick you out. I don't know, but the lines are full. We only have 5 lines open. So Garrett from 860, he's getting a free ticket to Landscape Summit. These are people that submitted due to financial hardship, and those of you in the show donated tickets to them. So thank you so much. Ken from 203 area code. He's going to be getting a free ticket to Landscape Summit. We're giving 10 of these away today total. We still have a few more to go. How many have I given out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cool. So we still have 3 more to go. 3 more tickets to give away to Landscape Summit. I've given away the business course, MBA for entrepreneurs, lawn care media, and books. So we got more books coming too. Let's go ahead and take the next caller from area code 720. Welcome to the show. Can you hear me?
Hey, yeah,
How's it going? What's your name?
Zach.
Zach, welcome. What's your question?
So I've been watching you for a while. We've been in business for a few years and just kind of stabilizing our systems and everything, taking the long route. And so last time we did door hangers, we got back about 1.5%. I had two questions on that.
Yep.
First of all, so we're upping it now, and last time I did 500 just to test the waters, and now I'm doing 5,000. I'm wondering what you think, I should expect coming back from that.
Yeah, like when you said 1.5%, was that just passive hanging on the door? Like just the door hanger?
Yep, no knocking.
Cool. And were you doing that, or was that someone you hired?
It was me and my two others.
Cool. So two things that you could potentially improve that number, which by the way, 1.5% is actually pretty good for just passively, like no door knocking or anything. The only two things I can think that would actually increase as one, knocking on the door and actually introducing yourself. That's always really positive. But if you're not going to do that, is actually putting the price on the door hanger, right? So I think I actually have you seen that one before?
Yep. That's actually what we did. We did a fall clean out one, and we put the fall clean out price on them and dished them out. And so we got 1.5. So I got 5,000 now, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna smash it out, and try to get all these dealt. And I'm just wondering, like, should I expect somewhere around that, 1.5%? I got a really nice mow price on there because our overhead's really low, and it's $1 for the first mow. And same setup, they sign the back and all that, take a picture, send it in. And I'm just wondering, like, do people normally go for that kind of stuff or not?
Yeah, like it really comes down to customer acquisition cost, right? So when we look at 1.5%, that's going to be what? 1 in 60? No, 1 in 50, 1 in 40. 1 out of 40. No, that's wrong. I'm doing something wrong. 1 out of 60. There you go. About 1 out of 60 houses, you're getting a customer, right? That's really good because let's just say we can do 120 door hangers in an hour. So that's basically every 30 minutes of door hanging, you are getting a customer. So let's say we pay someone $20 an hour. So that's $10 in labor. Then we got to do the printing. So let's just say, $2. Well, actually, let's say $5. That's $15 to get a customer. That's a $15 customer acquisition cost. I would do that all day long. I wouldn't touch Facebook. I wouldn't touch Google. I wouldn't touch any of those things as long as that number holds up. I wouldn't even, honestly, I wouldn't even mess with knocking on the door and putting prices. Like whatever you've been doing at 1.5, if you can run this number of like how many of those do I do in an hour, you might be only doing 40 or 50 per hour simply because you're putting the price on there. It takes a little extra time. And for those who don't know what he's talking about, I had it somewhere here. He's actually putting the price of his property cleanup. Like that's super smart. Increases your conversion ratio dramatically. And if you're not going to knock on the door, it's the next best thing to actually have a price and them know exactly what the cost is going to be. So I would just run those numbers. But if you're at $15, $20 a customer acquisition cost, I wouldn't touch anything else. I just keep doing that. It's working. And I'd double down just like you are, going from 500 to 5,000.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Sweet. Thank you for everything you've done.
You got it, brother. You have a great day. Merry Christmas.
You too. Merry Christmas.
All right. Next question coming from a caller in Alamonte Springs, Florida, from Daniel. Let's bring him on the show. How's it going? Daniel, can you hear me? Daniel.
Hello. Yes.
Hey, how's it going, brother?
I'm doing great. Thank you. My name is Fabricio. Hey, Mike, thank you for, the live. And I wanted to ask you something. I'm about to start, with the business, with the landscaping or mowing business. And I don't have too much information on the legal part of things. I know to be able to do Google ads and Facebook ads and stuff like that, you need to have a company set up. And I was wondering if you could give me more information how to set up, like a small company for a solo person, just me basically, just starting.
Yeah, if you're just starting and you want to keep it small, sole proprietorship is not a bad idea. I would rather someone do an LLC and just to protect yourself. If you have personal assets, a family vehicle, a family house, etc., I don't want those to be in jeopardy. So I'd try to do an LLC, limited liability company. I would contact your local, your state's Secretary of State office and just ask them, like, hey, what's the steps? Usually you can do it online. You're looking usually around $200 to get one set up. Then you're going to get an employer identification number, and that is going to be used to be able to open all these business accounts up. That being said, you do not need those to create a Facebook page. You do not need those to create a Google My Business page. You could literally just go start one. And from those accounts, you can still run ads. So don't think that you need to go get the LC or an S corp or anything fancy or a bank account that's commercial. If you're just trying to get started, I'm very much okay with someone even doing cash under the table just to get started, right? And then maybe you get 5, 10 customers. Okay, now we go get an LLC. Now we go get insurance. Now we get a bank account that's a commercial bank account, not just running it through a different checking account that's personal. So it really depends on how fast you're going to grow. You're just trying to kind of dip your toe in the water right now.
No, I'm trying to go hard.
Okay.
In the business.
Okay.
I'm 24 years old, and I was in school, but due to the pandemic and all of that, I had to stop. And this next year, I'm gonna be off, education. So I thought of doing something like landscaping, not even landscaping, more like mowing and like fertilizing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and give you access to Landscape Business course because it walks you through like from when I first started my first truck, like from the very elementary all the way up to your 3rd year of when you're doing 100,000 in monthly revenue. And it's going to walk through like the differences of sole proprietorship, LLC, the tax stuff, setting all those things up. So just email me if you could, landscapebusinesscourse@gmail.com. Just put your name in there. And then I will get you access set up for Landscape Business course.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Merry Christmas, brother.
Thank you for all the videos. I've been watching you. Yeah, thank you. You as well.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right. Next question is coming from Forest Grove, Oregon. Let's go ahead. It says Christina Kraus, but it could be wrong. Welcome to the show.
Hello, this is Reed.
Hey, what was your name?
It's Reed.
Reed. Awesome. What's your question, Reed?
What size yard do you charge to mow lawn that sits?
Yeah, it's like how do we charge prices for the lawns we cut?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, totally. So right now, do you have a couple lawns that you're mowing, or are you wanting to start your own business?
I have 4.
Awesome, man. Good for you. Are you doing it like in your neighborhood, like you kind of pushing the lawnmower around the street?
Yes.
Good for you. How old are you?
8.
Awesome. Awesome. So what I would recommend is when you go to a lawn, like let's say, for example, the first lawn that you got, how much did you charge for that one?
$10.
Okay. And is that per every week that you cut that lawn?
Yes.
Okay, great. And how long do you think it takes you on average to mow that lawn, the $10 lawn?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. Okay. So if I asked you how much are you making on that lawn per hour, what would that amount be? Per hour.
$30?
$20.
$10.
Yeah, so you're making $10 and it takes you 30 minutes. So you would be able to do 2 of those in 1 hour. So you will make $20 in 1 hour, right? So that's what you're going to be is your rate, right? Your $20 per hour. And so when you go to a lawn, what you want to do is ask yourself, okay, how long would this lawn take? And maybe you'd say, well, it's going to this is a bigger lawn. It's going to take me 45 minutes. Well, if I take 45 minutes, that's 3/4 of $20, right? Because my $20 is my hourly rate. And if I'm doing 3/4 of $20, that's $15 for that lawn. So what you want to kind of do is start getting the habit when you're looking at a price or at a lawn and you're trying to price it, ask yourself, instead of what dollar amount should I give this? Ask, how long will this take me? And then multiply that by your hourly rate of $20. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Hey, are you trying to get like 5 or 6 customers? What's your goal for next year?
Maybe 10 customers.
10 customers. That's awesome. That's very cool. And then why don't we do this? What I would recommend, Bud, is try to do at least $25 an hour as your rate, right? Because at $20 an hour, in a few years you could get a job for almost $20 an hour. I want you to make a little bit more, and I think you're worth it. You do a great job. So I want you to charge $25 per hour at least when you're going to do a property. So when you look at a property, you say, okay, well, that's going to take me about an hour to mow the lawn. Well, then you should charge $25. And just keep in mind, Reed, that people right now are hiring you because you are young, and that's okay. Don't feel like you got to be a big professional company or anything. Just know that people right now are hiring you because you're young and they want to support you, right? So don't be afraid to charge higher prices. You could probably charge $20 on that lawn that you cut the lawn for $10 now, and they would be happy to pay you. So don't be afraid to raise that $25 number up to even $30 maybe next year. You're definitely worth it. You're doing an amazing job.
How old should I be to start an LLC?
Typically you want to be, there's no age requirement in our state, but every state's a little different. But I wouldn't worry about an LLC quite yet until you maybe have 10, 15 customers. Then go get an LLC. But the thing is, at your age, Reed, like you don't have a house, you don't have a car that you got to protect. So there's really no reason to have an LLC because if someone sued you, they're not going to sue you for your house or for your car. So a limited liability company means it limits the amount of liability you have. So if someone tried to sue you, like if you ran into someone's car or you dented their garage door, right? They can't sue you and go get your personal assets like your house if you have an LLC. But you don't really have those things. So I wouldn't worry about that right now. Maybe when you get 15 customers, maybe when you get, 15, 16 years old and you get your own car, that's personal car, that's when I would start thinking about the LLC. For now, though, just focus on getting more customers. That's the only thing that matters.
Thank you so much. I watched all of your videos.
You're awesome, dude. Best of luck to you. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye. It's so awesome, man. That is so awesome. All right, Phoenix, Arizona. Next one up. Here we go. 602 number. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike, my name's Dave. I had to follow the 8-year-old, didn't I? I'm 60, and I'm still listening to your videos.
Oh, that's awesome. Good for you.
So, at what point do you have a number or a account number at which you enlarge your office staff? For instance, if you're doing 50 customers and $1 million a year, is one office staff, is that number work out? Or if you're doing 200 accounts and $1 million a year, do you need two people? How do you have a guideline for that?
Yeah, so I don't really have a guideline because honestly, the answer is as little as possible. It's overhead. So like your business specifically in terms of revenue, just approximately, what do you think in 2021 it was at?
We're right at 1.5.
Cool. And then how many office people do you currently have?
3/4 of one. One person that works about 6 hours a day.
Okay. And then do you do mostly?
It's clearly not enough. I just don't know how off the mark I am.
That's really good, depending what services you offer. So do you do commercial or residential? Do you projects or do you do mowing? What's going on?
It's all upscale residential maintenance. So, okay. But here in Phoenix, when you do maintenance, you're also checking irrigation, you're replacing low voltage lights, you're fertilizing, you're, yada yada yada. Yep. Lots of extra things that you do. You just don't mow and blow. At least in our market, you don't mow and blow and go.
Yep. And then do you have an office building right now, like at your shop?
Well, I've got a facility, yeah, but all my office work happens in a very small office in my house that my wife does.
Okay. Yeah, like honestly, if you need another person, you're making the revenue to do that. right? Like as long as the business is not growing like 50% from last year, I'm going to imagine you have a pretty healthy profit margin, but you're working crazy hours because you're doing all the selling. Are you doing the selling right now?
Well, selling kind of, I don't really need to sell because there's plenty of work. It's very different, but I did grow by 50% in the last year, and I definitely have dropped the ball in the last 2 months. And I'm just wondering, am I off the mark by like I need a full-time person, or do you have 2 full-time people? Because I know people, my competitors, they'll have 2 and 3, 4 people in the office. Now they're a little bit bigger than me, but they're not that much bigger than me. And I've always thought that was way too much, that there are ways to manage that part of the business a little bit better. And I was just curious, what your thoughts were on it.
So this is what I would do. You definitely need 2 people at that size of business in terms of revenue, at that type of services that you're doing. You're going to, like, if you said, hey, we have like 10 massive HOAs and that's all we do, you don't need hardly any office admin for that. At your type of work though, high end, you're doing a luxury service, you're charging a premium price, you need the 2 people because the headache it creates by you dropping the ball occasionally because you don't have the help is driving you more crazy than anything. Like, you've got to get that help in the office if you ever want to expand or just stay in business, because it'll drive you crazy otherwise. That's a lot of revenue for one person to be handling in the office. And it's also a vulnerability for the business at your size, because if that one person left or got hit by a bus or whatever, you would be the one answering the phone calls, right? And so I would definitely look at it as an insurance policy, and then how to afford it. I'd encourage you to do e-fees, estimate fees. I'd charge $30, $40 per estimate on the back end of the estimate to be able to afford that other person. Because every day you're probably doing 10 estimates a day?
No, I don't do any estimates a day. It's a completely different market. I mean, I provide a yearly budget for these clients. My average base is a little over $2,000 a month. So these people are business people, and I charge time and material, and I do a budget. But we have so many variables here. I mean, if you get an irrigation system that's over 5 years old, you could spend a third of your time just monkeying with irrigation in the summer. And to have service call guys running all over town, I just didn't find that efficient. So we've elected to keep enough stock on the trucks that we can deal with almost any problem within 30 minutes if we're there.
But like, if you grew by 50%, if you grew by 50%, like you're getting new customers. So are those coming in via just upsells?
Well, we sell more services to our clients now. As far as we did get a boost in the client number, but it was only in the last 2 months of the year. But the revenue, we went from 1 to 1.35, without this boost of customers. I hired somebody that had some accounts, and we took those on the last 2 months, but they really only provided about, $70,000 worth of revenue.
Yeah, like I understand where you're at, because like that much growth would have sucked a lot of the cash. And so it's like, well, can I afford another person? Yeah. But the bottom line is you need the other person. Like, it's an insurance policy, because if that other person gets hurt, you're literally going to be answering calls. You're going to be just working crazy hours, and it's not sustainable, right? So whether you got to raise prices a few dollars per hour, it sounds like getting more work is not an issue. So why not raise the prices to accommodate? Like, if you raise prices by $3 an hour over the course of your whole crew, like, you would immediately pay for another full-time person in the office, which would probably alleviate things off of your plate.
I've raised prices over the last year for $7, $8, $12 an hour. Mm-hmm. So on average, I mean, that's how much I've gone up. Yeah. And we're kind of at the top of the market for what the service we provide, but I don't really even have the call. I don't have calls. I mean, I get the occasional call, but mostly, I really hire and train top-notch people in the field so they can handle most everything. Each little crew is like their own little business, and the foremen handle the upsells, and they handle they tell us what we need, and unless it's a lot of work, we have an enhancement crew. But really, the foremen handle their business. I have 3 of my foremen were supervisors for HOA companies, big companies. But it's a different market, and my business model is definitely different. And I'll get a chance to meet you. I'm coming up to your summit.
Cool.
So
that's a very
I'm
cool.
excited to see the.
Very cool business model, because that's why you've been able to have one person at 1.5 in the office, is because you are doing time and materials, and it's that high level person, that high touch customers like, hey, I just want everything perfect. I'll pay whatever. So that's very, very interesting. That's very cool. So I would definitely, though, from a revenue standpoint, like you can you need it. It's like the cheapest insurance policy in the world to pay someone $40,000 a year right now or whatever to come help you in the office. I would definitely give you the green light on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So good. It's only one person, not 2 or 3. I know somebody that's got like 5 people, and it's because he's always doing collection because he's such a jerk, and he won't warranty a thing, and instead he'll argue with these people. And my motto is like, it's broke, let's fix it. That's a dollar that is well worth spent that I would have to spend marketing if I lose this client. So we warranty a fair amount of stuff, and we don't even question it. We just do it because it's something nobody else does. Yeah. So anyway, well, thanks for your input. I enjoy your videos and some of the guests you have on. So awesome. Thanks very much.
Thanks, James. I hope you can bring up some of that sunshine from Arizona for the summit. Take care, brother.
It's raining all day here.
Oh, really? Oh, it's snowing here. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, it's awesome. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and give away some more tickets to Landscape Summit. So let's see here. We got Joshua from area code 251. He's getting a free ticket to Landscape Summit. If you're just joining us, these tickets are going out to people that submitted financial hardship, and those of you watching donated tickets. So we're giving away 10 of them today. So there's one, Joshua from area code 251. I will reach out to all of you and make sure you get registered and everything set up. Next one for Sean from area code 870. Congratulations. You're coming to Landscape Summit for free. MyJL, area code 703, also coming to Landscape Summit for free. So thank you to everyone that donated to get other people there. Like, this is incredible. I know a couple of franchisees hopped on it and a few of the other listeners. So thank you so much. It means so much. And I'm really looking forward to that. If you have a question, by all means, you can call into the show. You actually will get in now because there's availability. And we'll just keep going here. So what else are we going to give away? Okay, we're going to give away some P4P books. So the next 3 callers are going to get a signed copy of the P4P book pre-launch. You're going to get it pre-launch. I'll sign it and send it out to you. And then it'll be available for everyone publicly, Amazon, on this January the 16th. So really looking forward to that. So congratulations to all the people that got the free tickets. Looking forward to seeing you there in person at Landscape Summit. Let's see here. So yeah, the next 3 callers get a signed book, and I'll send it out in the mail. I'm glad this is working again. The first one was pretty brutal. I don't know what happened. I honestly think either Comcast dropped or my dongle just gave up the ghost. I have no idea what's going on. But all right. Cool. Let's see here. Any more callers? There's no one in the waiting room for the calls. So if you want to call, get a question answered, feel free to give the call, give this number here a call, and then you'll go directly into the show. All right. What else can we give away? I give away hats. Way over there. Yeah, so we'll give these away for the next 3 callers. Anyone that has a question, feel free to jump in. I'm interested in P4P. Don't know anyone else is doing this in England. There are a few course members that are doing it, and they are in Europe. But I am not as familiar with the tax regulations and employment laws when it comes to P4P. The number is right here. 361-733-3332. Give that number a call. You'll go in the waiting room, and I'll bring you right in. Okay, let's see here. Thank you all for all your comments. Green, we blinked twice, then it's spring mulching. Yes, sir. Okay. Is he gonna Your channel. Sorry, I'm just going through all the comments. Yeah, that was a great call. Reed, you are awesome. I'm 16, trying to go hard next year. Do you have any information for me? I currently have 4 customers, made $5,000 this year. I get my license this summer. What should I do? I would honestly not try to use your vehicle too much to expand. I'd try to still stay focused around wherever those 4 customers are. Just really get better route density before you start driving out everywhere. But wherever those 4 customers are, that's where I would start my marketing, right? So if they are on different sides of the city, start in those neighborhoods. Don't be like, oh, I can do 15, 20-mile radius now because I have a car. Try to focus in on those areas you already have. All right, we got callers. First caller that's going to get a free book is from Baltimore. Is this Carlo?
Hey, Mike, what's up?
What's up, brother? What's your question?
Can you hear me?
I can.
I don't know. I don't really have too many questions. I just wanted to call and say hi.
Hey, you get a book for calling in.
I get a call and say hi. Yeah.
Cool. Well, send me an email.
Yeah, I met you at the GIE.
Go ahead.
What's that?
No, go ahead. You're good.
No, I was saying I met you at the GIE. You probably don't remember me, but
well, there was
a cutting force lawn service.
Wait, were you with your wife there?
That was my friend Billy. Remember we were talking about the certain list?
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, no, send me an email, landscapebusinesscourse@gmail.com. I'll sign one of these and send them out to you.
Do the put it in the description or something so I can find it because I wouldn't remember that by name.
Yeah, it's in the you're right. It's in the description of the video. There's the email's right in there.
What is that landscape summit thing? And I do have a question. What's it all about?
Yeah, so there's one other speaker. His name's Marcus. He now does consulting, but he used to have a massive design build company, like $7 million company over on the East Coast. So he's coming. He's a professional speaker. He's awesome. I've heard him a couple times before. And then I'm speaking throughout too. So a lot of stuff about culture, hiring. We're doing much about marketing, planning for 2022. And then just a lot of, really good stuff, I think, kind of going into next year. So kind of where I kind of break ground on all the stuff that's new in my head and where I think the industry is going, and even kind of from an economic standpoint where the opportunities are. And so I think there's actually going to be quite a bit of opportunity around, the fact that the Fed is raising interest rates is going to actually move this industry a little bit. So things like that we're going to talk about. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'd be interested in about the price range for our industry because of all the the economics, everything has gone up in price, and we're actually suffering because it's kind of harder for us, I think, to justify.
Yep.
But we have to.
Yep. No, absolutely. So we're going to talk all about like price elasticity and kind of what we're seeing with inflation right now, and kind of the where demand is going. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. But I'll send you this book. Send me that email, and I'll get that out to you right away.
All right, nice talking to you. Hey, have a Merry Christmas, and everyone.
You as well, brother. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yep.
All right, next caller that's going to get a book as well is from Salt Lake City, Utah. I think this is Taylor Hansen. Am I right on that?
You got it.
Cool. How's it going, brother?
How are you?
Good, good.
It's going good. It's going good. Well, thanks for doing this. Like watching all your content. Wanted to pick your brain on marketing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, at what point does it make sense in your mind to bring on an in-person marketer? So, for example, say your budget's $200,000 on marketing. Is it worth spending? Is it worth paying a marketing company to do all your Google ad management and your Facebook ads and kind of own that and pay them $70,000 and then pay $130,000 in ad spend? Or would you rather pay a higher dollar value in ad spend and have a company manage that for you? I don't know if that makes sense, but
totally. I would imagine you're probably doing $2 to $3 million at least in revenue, right?
Not quite. So I guess a quick background. We were doing right around $1 million of maintenance, no landscaping, just mowing, and some bed maintenance and stuff like that. We actually
sold off the majority part of our business and just went straight towards the chemical side this year. So we're doing fertilization and pest control only. And we'll end this year right at around 750,000 in revenue, but planning to double this next year, but putting a disproportionate amount of money towards marketing, just focusing on growth.
Yeah. So like the reason I asked that is because like when you look at your marketing dollars for a given year, what I'm always trying to track is, you know, what's the return on that money going to be in the next 12 months, right? Like, honestly, in this industry, you know, typically you're gonna have a 20% attrition rate. So if you can keep someone on average for 5 years, great. But when I talk about marketing, I need to get that money back in my pocket as soon as possible so I can keep growing the business, right? So I look at, okay, if I spend $1,000 a day, how much revenue will come from that $1,000 in the next 12 months? And so when someone's proposing spending $200,000 in marketing, I want to see a minimum of $2 million in new revenue in the next 12 months, right? And so that's a 10x multiple, right? And so anything under that, I would see as a disappointing metric for my marketing dollars. And so when, you know, if I was you and I was saying, oh, I'm going from 750 to 1.5, let's just say that's $750,000 in new revenue. That means that I need to spend less than $75,000 for that to be a really good marketing, you know, play, right? So I don't think you need to spend 200, and I definitely don't think you need a full-time person, because I can deploy hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of ads and manage it in an hour a week, right? So, you know, it doesn't take a huge amount of time unless you're doing a national campaign with different targeting, different ad groups, different creative and text and all the rest of it. If you spent $50,000 behind Google Ads, Google Local Services, Google, Nextdoor, and Facebook ads, and you did that in a 5 to 10 mile radius around a given area, you would demolish, and you would do much better than spending that 50 grand on even a marketing person. I went to a business a couple years ago, and they did about $700,000-800,000 in revenue, and they had a full-time marketing person. That full-time marketing person costs more in their annual salary than I had ever spent on marketing. So like, I'm very apprehensive to spend marketing dollars on managing the marketing campaign unless you just have no idea what you're doing. In which case you just go get a course.
Of course, like I agree with you. I want to keep as many dollars freed up going towards actual spend versus the management of the spend. I was just wondering if you had any, I guess you've answered the question, but I was just wondering when does that make sense, right?
Yeah. Like, let me ask you this question. Do you already have someone in mind for that position?
No.
Oh, okay. That's surprising. Okay, cool. So then, like, there's a reason why when you go to
I guess my main problem.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say my main problem is the bottleneck's me. I drop the ball on the management of the ads, and I feel like and it's not even an excuse of me getting sucked into anything else. It's just I feel like I dropped the ball on the management side of things, and would love some sort of assistance in that. I don't know if it needs to be like a highly paid marketer, or if it's worth hiring a company to help manage that. It's like I don't do a lot of the field work. I don't do any of the field work, with that being said, but I just want to make sure that it's selling season is so important, and making sure that you're not wasting any of that precious spring selling season. And got a lot of stuff coming up this year. Got a baby being born in the perfect time of mid-April. Super excited about that, but timing's always fun.
Yeah, like, you know, in your situation, it might not be a bad idea to hire somebody. I would definitely not be hiring someone full-time in-house, though. I would definitely go to an ad agency that's built for small businesses, because literally all they're going to do is run ads for you. They're not going to train you on anything. They're not going to run massive campaigns. Like there's a reason if you go to like a big agency, they require like a $10 million retainer, or they require a certain amount of revenue. Cause like there's gotta be, at the end of the day, if you pay someone 50 grand and then you have a $50,000 marketing spend, they've got to, by having them, you have to double the impact of that, of those marketing dollars in order for them just to break even on having them around. Right. So I would recommend going and getting like an ad agency that's going to charge you $500 or $1,000 flat fee, and they're going to run your ads for you. And then you're going to tell them how much you want to spend, and they're going to track which ones are doing good and boost those. I would do that, right? Because there's a really good chance that you're going to run ads for 3 to 4 months in spring rush and get overwhelmed with work and not need any more work. And therefore, if you would have hired someone on salary or payroll, like now you got to lay them off or they're waste. So I would go get someone, say, hey, for a flat fee of $1,000, $2,000 a month, we'll run all your ads, we'll run your Facebook, we'll run your socials, and you'll just tell us the budget. I would do that. And this is the thing though, like there's a reason why I haven't made this a service. It's because I don't feel like I offer 100% value, doubling the value of someone's ad spend yet. I haven't even got to the place where I feel like I could do that. So unless I would avoid trying to hire someone full-time, or them being on like, hey, 50-50 split, like, hey, whatever you give us, half of it goes to ads. I'd be trying to hire someone on a fee basis. And if you can't find someone locally, Upwork.com, search for Facebook ads, search for digital marketing strategist, whatever. And they'll charge you a couple $1,000s a month. You'll give them that money, and then you'll funnel whatever you want for budget, because they're on a fee basis instead of retainer or a percentage of it going to the ad spend.
Okay.
So, hope that helped.
Okay. Well, I think that clears up a lot. So thanks, appreciate you, and Merry Christmas.
And make sure you email me, because you got a book. You got a book coming your way. So email me landscapebusinesscourse@gmail.com, and I'll send that over to you. And just stay in touch with me too. If you email me, I'll know it was you, and I would love to hear kind of how that goes for you. And if I can help at all, I will.
Yeah, totally. And then also just another plug for Piece Rate. So we run all our perk packs on Piece Rate, and man, that's been life changing. I couldn't endorse it more. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for the book.
Good for you, brother. Take care. All right, bye-bye. All right. Next caller is from Malvern, coming up in 3, 2, 1. Malvern, coming from Malvern, Arkansas, I think, right?
Yes, sir. Hi, Mike.
Let's go. Robert, how you doing? Thanks for calling in.
I'm good, man. So I started a little lawn care business about 3 months ago to try to help my son get something going. He's 16. It has turned out more than I thought it was going to be. So I'm trying to talk my wife into letting me quit my job to run this full time.
Cool.
And she just doesn't, how would I say it? She likes the security of a paycheck.
Hey, yep.
And I have not done any marketing or anything other than set up a website, Google my business, and we've already done, I don't know, $2,000 worth of cleanups in less than 2 months.
So what's your total revenue been?
Trying to push it.
What's the revenue been in the past 3 months?
A little over 2,000.
Okay. And how many hours per week have you been allocating towards the business so far?
Let's see, maybe 8 a week.
Oh, so like 1 day a week, basically.
Yeah.
Is there any way?
I haven't been pushing it more. I mean,
Go ahead.
I haven't been pushing it because all we have is basically Saturday. Sundays is family days. And then I work Monday through Friday. So there's no time during the week because I go to work, it's dark. I get off work, it's dark.
Yeah. Yeah, like, this is the thing. She kind of has every right to be somewhat alarmed because you've only done 2,000 in the past 3 months. Now, that being said, if you were able to work 5-6 days a week, now we're talking about, that being a meaningful, $8,000-$10,000 a month potentially in revenue. And if you're working longer hours, et cetera, right? So I think every single situation is different, but if there's any possible way to squeeze more hours out of the week, whether that be you having someone help you on the Saturday. So now instead of 2,000 over the next 3 months, we get 4,000 or 5,000, right? And then potentially it's like, okay, well, can I work with my current job to get Fridays off, so that way I can do 4 10s and then work, on the business on Fridays, and then maybe get that to $4,000 or $5,000 per month in revenue. Then that's when it becomes a little more easy for a spouse typically to accept the fact that, like, okay, this is a meaningful business. We've grown it a bunch. We're gonna make just as much from my part-time business as I do from my full-time job. That's when it becomes more of a no-brainer, right? But that's a difficult transition when you're trying to do the full-time thing and run a business that's growing like that.
Right. I mean, I see the potential. I know I could do it if I can get out there and market it a little bit more. It's just trying to prove to her that everything will be fine.
What if you asked her, like, hey, baby, what is it going to take in terms of revenue for you to feel comfortable, right? And then just have it in writing in terms, not like as a contract, but it's like, hey, this is the goal. This is what we want to make per month. This is what we need to replace our income. That's the biggest thing, right? If you can replace your income from your job and be happier and have growth potential, like that's a win-win-win, right? So it's a matter of how do we get to that spot without there being a lag? Because what you don't want, this is what she's afraid of, I'd imagine, is you quitting your job and going to this thing, and all of a sudden you're making $1,000 per month because we thought there was gonna be a business, but there wasn't for whatever reason. And that's what she's afraid of. So it's like, how can we potentially bridge that gap by saying, okay, can I squeeze work into less days so I can work more on the business? Can I hire someone to work with me on the weekend to be able to do the business? Is there potentially even someone that could work while I'm at work so I can grow the revenue of the business to the point where it makes a lot of sense to me go full time, because my part-time employee working out in the afternoons while I'm at work is making more money per hour than I am at my job. That's when it starts to become like easier for them to accept a lot of times.
Right. I just know, I mean, it's wintertime. The revenue is not really there during the winter as much as it is spring, and I know spring, I just want to be on the point to where when spring comes, I can hit the ground running.
Yep. I'd be trying to open up your schedule as much as possible to open up either Fridays, or it'd be hiring someone for Saturdays only. And then maybe that Saturday person starts working 3 days a week for you, 2 of which you're at work, but they know the route, they know which jobs you're doing, they know the cleanups. That's possible. And if you get it to the point where you're like, man, I just made $6,000 per month in revenue from my lawn care business that I'm doing on the weekend, and I'm only making $4,000 from my job, like, why would I not switch? That's when it becomes easier for her. But when she looks at $2,000 for the past 3 months, there is no guaranteed tomorrow in business. There is no paycheck that comes in every week. So like, I would be completely understanding of her position. It's just, now it's like, how do I prove that this is a sustainable thing? And it's not just based on hope of it growing. It's like, hey, look, babe, we did 1,000 the first month, 2,000 the next, 3,000, 4,000. I'm stressed out to max because I'm working on the weekends, but I'm making more money from my mowing and my landscaping than I am working full time. Like, why would I not jump? That's when it makes more sense. But I would just take it from the position of like, hey, we both understand why she feels that way. What do I need to do in the business to get you to the point where you'd be like, yes, that makes total sense. And a lot of times that means replacing your income. So they're just that sense of security for them.
Right. Okay, I was hoping you were going to have a math formula I could sit down. Here it is,
like
that's the go number,
Yeah. Like, well, this is the go number then. If that's what you're looking for, is what do you bring home? I'm not asking you this question. I'm just saying this is what you would determine. What do you bring every single month in terms of from your job? Let's just say, I'm just going to make up a number, $4,000 per month. Okay, if I got to bring $4,000 a month per month right now to replace my income, I'm probably going to have to go to $6,000 per month of lawn care and landscaping. Now, I can't do that while I have a full-time job. But the question is, can I somehow do that by having an employee work with me on a Saturday, by potentially getting Fridays off to be able to do that, by potentially having that person who helps me on Saturday also mow lawns or do cleanups during the week while I'm at work? If you then get the business to say $7,000, $8,000 a month in revenue by doing that, and then it's like, hey, look, like last month, we brought $4,000 a month for my job, and I also profited $4,000 from my lawn care business. Just think what I could do if I could go full time on the lawn care business, right? That's what I'd be doing.
Right.
How fast can you get to replacing your current income? That will set the security kind of thing a little bit easing for her, I believe.
That makes sense.
So, best of luck, brother. I'm gonna. Can you email me? I want to give you landscape business course, the actual course, because it's gonna help a lot with getting to that part. So, just send me an email, landscapebusinesscourse@gmail.com, and that's my Christmas present for you. And then, just grow the business, and I think your wife will come along for the ride once she's seen traction. But $2,000 in 3 months isn't going to provide for a family or give security. And I think the challenge is, how do I prove that but still have my full-time job? And that's when you got to just get creative,
Right. Well, thank you very much, Mike. Merry Christmas.
My pleasure, brother. Merry Christmas. You have a good one. Take care. Bye. All right. Next question is coming from Philadelphia. It's saying Christoph Quinn, but it could be wrong. Philadelphia, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Mike?
Good, good. Thanks for calling in. Am I right on the name or wrong?
Yep. Philadelphia.
Okay, very cool. How's it going?
Just got one question for you, mostly. One marketing tip. What would your best marketing tip be?
Honestly, it would be to stay in touch with your current customers and make sure that you're not neglecting warm leads. And that is people that, the warmest lead is someone you've done work for, that you're still doing work for on a recurring basis. The next person that most people forget about is people that are in their database that they haven't done work for, but you've done an estimate or they're somehow in your database. Staying in touch with those people and trying to constantly be selling them. That would be the number one thing I would do.
All right. Yeah. I'm 15. I run a little lawn and landscape business, and I just got into tree work a little while ago too.
Good for you, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'll send you a book.
Thank you
I know
so
it's a little bit down the road, but send me an email and just put in there, hey, this is Philadelphia, Christopher. I will send you this in the mail and I'll sign it for you.
All right. Thank you, Mike, so much. You do so much for us.
I appreciate it, brother. Take care.
Put in a lot of work.
You're welcome. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is coming from Columbus, Ohio. Cedric Owens. I've seen you in the chat. Cedric, how's it going?
Hey, Mike, it's actually Cedric, but no worries with pronunciation.
Cool. How's it going?
Going pretty good, sir. I met you down at GIE. It was nice meeting you. I'm also sent you a message on Instagram or comment on Instagram last week. You were announcing the book with Still Cuts Lawn and Landscaping out of Pickerington, Ohio, suburb of Columbus. My question I had for you then was, how did you feel about how P4P would work with we have only like 2 or 3 employees, and how it would look with scaling? So you had made a comment on that. You said you completely believe in that, and I appreciate for that. My main question was or thing I wanted to talk to you about was that I'm going full time this upcoming spring. Right now I also do IT work for a big bank here in Ohio. But we're going full time this upcoming spring. I currently have employees that help me for trimming. They trim for me I got a guy that helps me on the weekdays, and I got a guy that helps me on Sundays. And we do landscaping work on Saturdays. So I was originally working it out where, let's just say a house, we were charging $35 to do a cut on. I was paying them $10 per house. And then for houses like 45 or 50 bucks, I was paying them $15 per house. So I was kind of doing a P4P that way, but it wasn't something that I think is the most beneficial to the business. So I went to the idea of converting them to $20 per hour. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's the answer either. I do think P4P is probably the answer. I just don't, I'm ready to implement it. I just don't have the information yet. So that's what I'm saying. I need the book. I can't wait until the 16th.
Cool. I'll send you the book for free. So that'll get that out of the way. But I think the big thing is, and this is something I talk about at the beginning and the end of the book, and that is, unfortunately, all three of the things we talk about in P4P are easy to implement in and of themselves. And most people have to some extent. Everyone was like, they fundamentally understand that profit sharing is important to get people to think about the profit line, the bottom line. Everyone, some people, I should say, think open book management is important. And that's an important part to show your numbers to the team. They understand, they have information. And then some people try to implement P4P. In my opinion, it has to all be done if it's going to be effective. And furthermore, when we talk about P4P, we can't take it as one thing like, oh, we're just going to give a percentage of labor revenue to the employees. Or like, okay, in a $45 job, just everyone gets $15. It's too micro, and the employees will find the loopholes, and it's just human nature, not their fault. It's the fact that we've created an incentive structure that actually incentivizes people to do things wrong. So if I'm just giving them a percentage of revenue, they're going to make a bunch of mistakes. They're going to go way too fast. They're not going to care about walkthroughs with the customer. They're not going to make sure that the customer's happy before they leave. And that's not good for the business. So in order for it to actually work, and the people that say that will come out when this book comes out, and they will make comments that says, I tried P4P and it didn't work. I will ask every single one, did you follow all the steps? Because most of them will leave parts out. They'll leave parts out like open book management. They'll leave parts about profit sharing. They'll leave parts out that you need to do the yellow slip system, which is they go back to the property if they were rushing and they made a mistake, or if they made any mistake, they go back to the property, the employee talks to the customer. And so the biggest mistake I have seen, and I know I will see with P4P, is people taking bits and pieces of it and not implementing it fully, right? And so I think by just offering a percentage of revenue to an employee, you're doing what we talked about earlier with an estimator, and that is you're incentivizing speed, but you're not incentivizing the quality and the fact that the customer needs to be satisfied. So that would be my kind of thought. And I think the book will hopefully help with kind of understanding why it's so important to have the full system. Like, we don't have times where like, oh, like that's not P4P, or like that job, it's a paper job, we're not going to do P4P on that. Like, it needs to encompass everything, right? Maintenance of equipment needs to cover that. It needs to be in the system, right? And it needs to be understandable. It needs to be simple. So I think the book will help you with that. And I'd love to see how that kind of helps you even with 2 or 3 employees. As soon as you get above 2, that's when P4P is needed. If you have 2 or less employees, you're just fine without P4P because you have eyes on them at all times. You can manage them well. But as soon as you get above 3, you're either tracking their trucks, you're either always rolling up on them and checking. You're doing quality assurance, you're doing quality control, you're doing damage control. You go back to complaints. And so you've got to have the system police the behavior and make sure that they're doing a great job. And they don't want you micromanaging them, right? Employees don't want you rolling up on them randomly to see if they're working hard or questioning whether or not they are going to the gas station to go to the bathroom or just chill out for 30 minutes, right? They don't even want you asking. So create a system where they can work as hard as they want or as little as they want and make as much or as little money as they want, right? So I know it wasn't really your question there, but it was just a matter of saying like the whole system really does have to implement it, in my opinion, to see the real benefit.
And I think that really helps because my goal is to take, from me and my trimmer guy to being able to have 2 lawn crews. I want to have a landscaping crew, and I want to have a fertilizer and spray crew. So to have that within the next few years and be able to make sure that everyone is paid fairly, and that allows the business to be profitable and allows the business to scale, that's the big thing for me.
Totally. I appreciate the call. And I wanted to say too, like in the book, I talk about the fact that not everyone implementing P4P wants to make more money as owners. When I implemented P4P, it was because I wanted to keep people and pay them appropriately. There's 2 reasons why you'd implement P4P. One is because you're not making money and there's a massive amount of waste in your labor and you're losing money. And the second reason you'd implement P4P, which can be completely separate from the first, if you're already making good money, you're like, man, why would I implement P4P? I'm making a bunch of money. Well, the fact of the matter is you would implement P4P so that you can actually tie performance to pay, and that you can leave the business and know that people work just as hard. and you don't have to worry and micromanage, and you can cut back on your overhead and put that money into profit sharing because you don't need management always watching over the shoulder of the employee as long as they're above base pay. So anyways, next caller who's already been on hold for 18 minutes from Nashville, Tennessee, 615 caller, go for it.
Hello, Mike. This is Jack in Corvallis, Oregon. How are you today?
Jack, how's it going? I don't know why it said you were from Nashville, Tennessee, but I'm glad you're in Oregon.
It is a Nashville number. The computer's not lying to you.
Let's go. Cool. What's your question?
So I'm actually a full-time facility manager, have been for almost 20 years, and I'm in the middle of buying a landscape business.
Cool.
I found you during my due diligence review of the business itself, and after going through most of the landscape business course, I'm looking forward to coming up to conference. And your content and the information there helped me make the final decision to go ahead and purchase this business.
Cool. Good for you.
And my question for you, thank you. It's an awesome business. It's a great reputation, great name, good crews, does almost $500,000 in top line revenue, 3 trucks, 5 workers, decent equipment. But there has been almost zero use of software, automation, or anything else that's a management aid. The business topped out 2 years ago with capacity. They added another truck last year and grew a little bit. But what they've ran into now is an absolute limit to what they can manage without software. So I'm rolling out things like Service Autopilot to communicate with customers, to do upsell automations, all those awesome things that I'm comfortable with doing. But do you have any recommendations for how to change the culture of the workers to use those things and to change the culture of the client to move towards using the customer portal, putting cards on file, participating in e-invoicing?
Have you already
things like that?
Have you already launched it and tried to convince customers or not?
No, that's the closes in mid-January. I'm just now starting to build out all of the service menu and importing all of the client information into Service Autopilot.
So I don't think you'll actually have a whole lot of friction, especially after 2020 and 2021. Like everyone's online, everyone's very comfortable with paying things with their credit card online. There's going to be a few, especially if they haven't done any of that in the past, if they've been putting cash under like mats or checks or anything like that. That's going to be a little bit of a struggle, but this is how I would do it. And that is make a video when you acquire the business, ideally with the other owner, because obviously they have interest in it being, going well too. If obviously you trust them enough. So hey, like, why don't we make a video? You're going to say, hey, this is the new owner. And then you're going to say, hey, here's the things that we're changing. Not your price, by the way. Don't raise the price when you're doing an acquisition. Say, hey, prices are staying the same. Here's what's going to improve.
Right.
Now you're going to be able to pay online. Now you're going to be able to do auto pay where we just keep your card on file. And now we're going to have an office staff. Now we're going to have automations that are able to tell you when we're at your property, whatever it might be. Those are the things we want to focus on. Value proposition to the customer. Like, oh, wow, great. New owner, all these new things. My price isn't going up. This is great. And so if you lean into that, 80 to 90% of them will accept that change. Okay. On the employee side, that's a little harder because if they're all used to not using phones, like, are they all like computer illiterate or are they just apprehensive to use technology? Or do you not know? You haven't changed it?
I have seen enough to know that they all have phones, but the owner tried to roll out Yardbook a couple of years ago, and the employees effectively revolted and just would not use any of the software. And they're great workers. They're just disinterested in what they perceive as an additional non-value add process for them. It's not a choice. We're moving towards the route management and everything else that's provided by Service Autopilot because I'm not willing to spend 80 hours a week managing the business, which is roughly what the previous owners put in together.
Right.
I think I can cut that down to well under 40 just by automating all of the invoicing and billing and collections and everything else. And dispatching folks with phones in the field. If something goes wrong on a route right now, they have to drive back to the office to find out what to do next.
Yeah.
Leading to just obviously huge inefficiency.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I was really looking for. P4P is something that I would like to move towards. One, so that the employees will take better care of the equipment because they know that it's coming out of their potential, P4P above base pay, and close the loop on the owner that goes out and does quality control, just like you mentioned to the previous caller. I want that to be done by crew leads and the mowing crew in the field before they check out at the end of a job. I just was looking for some guidance or some pointers on changing that type of culture without, of course, leading to a mass exodus.
Yeah, honestly, if they are threatening, to all leave over software change, I don't know how much you know them, but if ownership changes, there's a good chance they're going to leave. Have you talked to the employees already?
No, the sale is still not being advertised.
Got it. So I would put an 80% likelihood that they're all going to leave, based upon them potentially doing that over software 2 years ago. I would also say that people are more adapt to software over just the past 2 years. So potentially that could be an improvement. I think the biggest thing though is what you just said, and that is making a switch to something, whether it be P4P or whatever, that aligns your goals with theirs. The reason you want them to change the software is because you're going to be, the business will be more efficient. You will go from 80 hours to 30 hours a week, and you will make more money. What's in it for them? That's the question you got to ask yourself. That's why there would be a mutiny, because they only see upside potential for the business and for the owner. So what you've got to think about is, how do I align their best interest, making more money, making their job easier with this change of software? And that's going to come down to, hey, if I know I'm paid based upon performance and based upon I get a percentage of the revenue I make every day, I want to be as efficient as possible. I want to be able to log in the night before and see my job notes so I can come to work early and get a plan and get out of there. So we actually, when we, several years ago, we had a team meeting at an offsite, and one of the older team members said, hey, look, you guys should not be texting us outside of, if we're not clocked in. You should not be texting us. And we're like, okay, let's try it out. Let's try no one gets text messages after hours or before work. And literally within 3 days, everyone wanted it changed. The reason was because they're based upon performance. They want to see their job notes the night before. They want to see their project the night before. They want to get that communication and get there early, get their stuff ready, and get out of there, and not wait till like the time that, I'm supposed to clock in. Now I can get my job notes. So the only reason that happened though is because they were incentivized for efficiency and based upon P4P. So I think that's the number one. And then I think below that though, I would definitely say, if you're going to try to change their pay structure and ownership, and they were about to leave over software being changed, you might be just in the back of your mind thinking about the fact that a lot of them are going to leave. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because if they leave over you trying to make positive changes like that in the business, there's going to be bigger issues down the road anyways. But I do believe you got to think about what's in it for them, this technology change, not just making the business better, not just reducing the amount of time you have to work at the job, on the job, not just making the business more money, because there's nothing in it for them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. The first thing I was looking to roll out would be performance bonuses on daily and weekly route completion, because the current business owner frequently has holdovers to the following week because of inefficient routing, or because of return trips to the shop for missed items, or return trips back to customers for missed services. And I was thinking that one of the easiest ways is to show them that, look, this software is going to show you everything that needs to go on for the job, and you're going to know every job you need to do before you leave for the day. If everything is done when you come back, that's a check in the positive for that day. If that happens for the entire week, there's a weekly performance incentive.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's the first step, right? Like that's kind of a hybrid of P4P. It's a first step in the right direction. And I think it's a matter of being really open, like, hey, here's what it costs us every single week for us to go over. Okay, $500. That $500 is going to get broken up of course, of everyone who finishes their route correctly, right? That becomes an incentive. The reason that's a good step. Let's say it's weekly basis. I want to get it down though to where on Monday morning, they are going to make more money today if they get more jobs done. I want that incentive to be as close to the performance as possible. I always want the compensation to be as close to performance as possible, because most employees, frontline employees, don't have the forethought of on Monday morning to run to the truck in order to get their bonus on Friday. What they'll do is they'll wait till Thursday and be like, oh, where are we at? Right? Should I be working harder? Should I be working less? And I don't want them filling up the time. I don't want them thinking, oh, Thursday, man, we're just crushing it. Weather's been great. I can slack off the next 2 days because I just got to get, the work done by Friday, and then I got my bonus. So you've always got to think about perverse incentives when it comes to giving a bonus, because over time, your quantity of work that you would actually get out of them would slowly decrease over time, because they just start to realize that they've just got to hit a certain marker on Friday and they get a bonus, which means if they could have got it done by Wednesday, why push yourself?
Right. So you basically say increase that Pavlovian response, meaning move that reward as close to the behavior that you're trying to encourage as you can.
Exactly. That's why the daily reports are so important. Yep. Cool.
Fantastic.
Thanks for calling in, brother.
If travel restrictions don't happen, I'll be up there at the conference.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing you. Have a great Christmas, brother.
Thank you. You as well.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, next one's from, I know it's Utah, but I don't know how to say this. Tuelle. Utah. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Sorry, I don't know even how to say the name of your city. I apologize. Is it Tuelle?
Oh, you're good. Tooele, Utah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was way off. Okay, great. Cool. What's your question?
So I am going full-time with my business this spring. I've been in business like 5 years part-time, and I finally decided to make the jump.
Cool.
So my question is, we're in a booming market right now. Tooele is just kind of exploding, and I know there's a lot of work. And I know that this spring with me, marketing, putting out door hangers and stuff, I can get probably a lot more work than I can handle by myself. So my question is, when it comes to hiring, I've kind of been thinking about hiring 2 part-time guys and just staggering them instead of hiring 1 full-time guy. Because my worry is if I hire 1 full-time guy to help me out and then I just get way too much work and get overloaded, and then for some reason he quits, then I'm just kind of stuck with all the work and can't handle it. But if I have 2 part-time guys kind of staggered, if one leaves, I still kind of have a backup, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's pros and cons of both. Like, I understand where you're coming from. It's a very defensive mindset that you're coming from, which is basically, God forbid I get too much work. God forbid I get a really good person and then they leave, right? So it's a very defensive mindset that you're coming from, which is fine if that's what you want to do, run the business. But like, if you're trying to grow, I would think more like, hey, if I get a good person, I want to give them as many hours as I possibly can. And if they left, I would make sure that my margins are good enough to where I could go get someone immediately, because I can pay higher than, average wage in the market. Right. So like, if let's say you got a really good person, let's say they're full-time and then they left. What I would do is immediately raise my prices. So hopefully I lose some customers. And if I don't, I'm going to then be able to afford to be able to go advertise to pay someone $3, $4, $5 more per hour if I needed to, like in a crunch, right? Or offer someone on Craigslist, like, hey, I just really need help for next week. I'll give you $25 an hour. Just come help me. Like, so I would take more of that aggressive approach. And the reason is too, because when you have 2 part-timers, you also have half the output for twice as much of the effort of managing their schedules. Oh, I've got to work around school. I got a second job. Well, now I'm bouncing around their priorities, and because at the end of the day, if I'm not going to commit full-time to an employee, I don't really expect them to commit to me full-time. And I really believe that we as employers have to realize that they're going to match the level of commitment that we have to them. Right. So if I'm like, hey, I'm only going to, I know you want full-time hours, but I only gave you part-time. Well, if I do that, now either they're going to get another job and then I've got to work around that schedule, or that maybe they're in school or doing an internship or something else. And juggling 2 people's schedule like that all the time is actually really, really tough. I'd rather have a full-time person, if they're good, that wants to show up to work every single day, depends on the paycheck. That's their only job. That's the only thing they're committed to. It's easier to work with scheduling. Otherwise, you're just going to feel like you're picking people up, and then hey, are you available this extra day? Could you work a little longer this day? I'm running behind. Whereas when it was a full-time person, it's like, hey, I know that I have this person as my employee, and I can depend on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that clears it up for me. So thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Awesome. You got it, brother. Have a great Christmas.
Thanks, you as well.
Bye-bye. All right. Next call is from Orlando, Florida, area code 321. Here it is. Been on hold for 14 minutes. I apologize. Orlando, Florida, how's it going?
Hey, Mike, it's Vlad. We just spoke not too long ago.
Oh, yeah. Cool. How's it going?
Good. I just had a quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So as we're looking to expand here, I know you have this, I think you used to have that in Mount Vernon, but how do you guys go about, or some of your franchises going about, like renting the land from residents to like as a shop space? Like, do you guys send mailers out in the mail? Like, how do you get that place?
Yeah, so we kind of have a one-page lease that we give our franchisees, and the lease is not to necessarily go find a place. It's the fact that most homeowners, farmers, anyone with land isn't like super receptive to some random person showing up on their door and like, I want to rent land from you. So we try to have a lease that we already have pre-prepared for them. So that way, when they go to a potential place, it's like, I'm legit. I'm willing to sign a lease that already tells like how it's going to roll when I leave and how much more I have to pay per truck when I start growing, like that we've thought things through, that we're going to provide insurance. So I think that is really important, but just, getting in front of them in general, it's literally like the 2 or 3 places that you're going to want in your city usually, and we just go straight to them. Like we literally just go on the door, knock on, hey, like I see land. Can I park trucks there? I will give you X amount of dollars. Here's a lease. Would you be interested? Right? So we really go much more targeted. We don't really advertise. You can throw something on Craigslist under gigs. Sometimes that works well, or under real estate. You can put an ad up on there. But it's rare that that's the case. Usually you're going and you're going to do a little hand-to-hand combat and actually like, okay, I want that piece of land. That's a great spot. That they don't ever park their vehicles. They're just a bunch of gravel. I'll go knock on the door. That's literally how it usually works.
And then I know here, like for example, Florida, like just putting a small shed will require probably a permit to the city. I mean, I know you guys are sometimes putting those shipping containers. I mean, do you guys run into a problem like that ever? Where now, I mean, is that something that you're going to have to do, or the owner will have to do now, where the city is to maybe get a permit possibly for that shipping container?
Yeah, like I know in our area we don't have to get a building permit. I know most states don't, so I would look into that. But a shipping container, that's why most people use them for storage, is because you don't need a building permit and you can go over. Like for example, in Washington State, anything over 200 square feet, you have to have a building permit. However, if it's a storage container, that's nixed. Right now, you want to put correct ventilation in a storage container, make sure it's not going to like get too hot or there's fumes, things like that. But typically, you do not need a building permit, and that's why we like to use them on those mobile, shop areas. Like we just moved our shop in New York to Connecticut, and just they rolled up, picked up the storage container, and moved it to our new shop. Right, so it is simple, and that's what I would recommend.
Go ahead. And you guys just use the gas generators to kind of power up the shop. You don't pull power from the owner, do you?
It just depends. Every single owner is a little different. Like, for example, in North Carolina, they have a shop space in a gravel lot behind a contractor, with a contractor, and they already had power there. So if they need it, they can plug directly in, and the guy's like, it's fine. You're probably using a couple dollars a month, and it's not a big deal. Other areas, we get a generator. And we just run off a generator when we're sharpening blades or we're trying to charge something up. But the only reason you really need power, like consistent, is if you have an office. If you're just storing equipment, you only really need a generator for like sharpening blades, maybe like cleaning stuff out, vacuuming maybe. But there's really not much unless you have an actual office staff, which is a whole different ballgame. You're not even thinking about renting land. You need an actual building.
Yeah, unless we're an all-electric lawn care company, we need to charge a battery somewhere.
Right.
That's the other option too.
Yeah, and there's those really quiet generators that produce like 1,000 watts or whatever, and those are really great because there's light. You can literally just toss them in. So I think Mount Vernon has a couple of those, and they'll just throw them in the back of the trucks. That way, if the dump trailer ever dies, that way if anything happens, like it's good to go. And they're really quiet and don't burn a lot of fuel. So.
All right, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. I don't want to hold the line for other people that might need your help.
You're good. Thanks, brother. You have a great Christmas. Take care. All right. Next question. Decatur, Alabama. Coming up here. 3, 2, 1, launch. Talk. There we go. Alabama, can you hear me? Up. 256 number. Sorry, some people's names don't come up when they call in.
Can you hear me now?
I can. How's it going?
Hey, Mike. Doing well. How are you?
Good. What was your name?
My name's Cole.
Cole. Awesome. And are you actually coming from Alabama, or is that a mistake on my end?
Well, that's my hometown. I currently live in Northern California.
Oh, wow. That's quite the change. All right. Cool. What's your question?
All right. So, and first off, I really want to say I appreciate everything you do, especially taking this time to have the live call. It means a lot. But my question is, I'm currently active duty Air Force, and that's kind of why I'm in California. But my question is, I have, the goals and ambitions to start my own lawn care company, but I don't want to do it in California. I want to do it, at another place, because I don't see like a long-term value in my opinion of staying in California just due to the cost of living and whatnot. But I have about 2 more years left in California. What would you say to somebody that is, potentially going to be moving and wants to get started now,
Mm-hmm. You have 2 years. So the only really value that I would say then is your ability, like sharpening the skill of selling. And if you have time in the next 2 years to just basically stack cash, right? So I'd be trying to do cleanups. I'd be trying to do, bush trimmings. I'd be trying to do some overgrown mows, like high cash value, and that you can basically put in your pocket, right? So even if it was on a cash basis that you just deal with people that would want to support you, obviously you probably have connections if you had to pull in somebody to help with you on a bigger project, but like I'd just be stacking cash. And at the same time, you're getting field experience. So actually knowing what you're doing. Obviously, not all of that's going to translate to a different state, but just getting around the tools, getting around the equipment, learning how to sell. I think that's what I'd be focusing on. And then in 2 years, you'd have the capital and the knowledge to really scale it much, much faster. And that's when I would, get an LLC and insurance and all the rest of it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I like that point of stacking cash, getting the experience, and then, after the 2 years, if I want to pivot to another state, I'm looking at Texas and then possibly going to college as well, or even pursuing a trade. So it's all been things, but I've kind of become victim of analysis paralysis. So do you have any tips on that, of not like overanalyzing the situation to the point of, just not taking any action?
Yeah, a lot of times it's caused by the fact that you're trying to cross bridges way before you're getting there, right? You don't need to determine right now where you're moving. You're in California for the next 2 years. So regardless if you go to school, regardless if you go to a different career, whether you move to a different state, whether you go to Texas or whoever, like wherever, it doesn't matter. So like, don't think about that stuff. Like right now, for the next 2 years you're in California. And then the question is, well, how do I set myself up for success after those 2 years, regardless of where I go or what I do? Number one thing is just stack cash aside, because it's going to give you options. Money gives you options. So if you come out of the next 2 years out of the military and you have, let's just say, I'm going to throw in a number, 50 grand, versus if you come out of the military with 10 grand, you're going to have way more options with the 50. Because that $50,000 could immediately get you 2 trucks up and running in whatever facility or whatever state you move to. If you wanted to go the business route, it could also let you go to college and then have the money to hire an employee and kind of lose money for the first little bit, but you're fine because you got 50 grand and they can be out mowing lawns while you're at school throughout the day. So it gives you way more options. I would not worry about any of that stuff. The paralysis by analysis usually comes because you're analyzing things that are going to happen way down the road that more than likely the scenario will be different by then, right? So I just focus on, hey, next 2 years, this is what I'm
Right.
doing. I'm just stacking cash. That's the only thing I'd be thinking about. Because when you come out of the 2 years, you're gonna have so many more options if you've done that.
Okay. Perfect. Nice. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for that.
My pleasure. And when you do get out, let me know. Send me an email and just put in there that you were active military and things. I'd like to send you a few things.
Okay.
No.
All right. Yes,
Best of
sir.
luck.
Sounds good. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Best of luck, brother. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.
All righty.
All right. Next caller is from Nashville, Tennessee. Let me pull it up here. 1 second. Nashville, Tennessee. Can you hear me? Earth to Nashville. 615 number. Dun, 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 dun. Nope. Nashville, Tennessee. I can't hear any of you. 615 number. Testing. Okay. Nope. That's it. Okay, cool. We're going to go ahead and drop it there for the day. I appreciate everyone for coming on the show. And everyone that asked live questions. Like, you guys are phenomenal. Like, it's just really good questions, and no one's on here trying to do stupid stuff. So I really appreciate it. Most people don't do these live shows because they're afraid that when people do call in, they're going to say stupid stuff or just do weird things online when you're live. So thank you so much for keeping it so awesome. I'll do more of these because I think it is valuable to hear people where they're coming from, their opinions, as well as their circumstances, and then be able to align where you're at in your business compared to what they're doing. So this is the last weekend where you can join Landscape Summit and get the sweaters. So we have to order those a couple of weeks in advance. So if you want one of the really cool sweaters that I've worn in some of the videos, it says Landscape Summit, has 2021, 2022 tag on there and all the rest of it, you'll need to sign up by the end of this weekend. So you can join last minute. If anyone wants to know, you can come to the conference and kind of come in last minute based upon, like, if you're just waiting on something like child being born, weather, whatever it is, you can book a ticket last minute and fly here, but I just can't guarantee that you're gonna have a sweater and a book and all the rest of the other stuff that we give away. So if you are planning to come to Landscape Summit, join this weekend. If not, just do it last minute. I just can't guarantee a sweater. So really appreciate everyone's support. I know this is probably one of the last lives I'll do this year, so I have to say thank you to everyone watching. 2021 was a chaotically awesome year. A lot of stuff on every front was improved and grew and etc. It was a crazy year for me. I learned a lot, and I'll probably make a video something about this, but I'm making this at the very end of a 2-hour, well, it's been actually 3 hours because the first video messed up. So 3 hours of live because the 60 people watching now are probably some of my people who have been around for a long time. You guys follow a lot of my content. You are in Landscape Business Course. You are part of Lawn Care Web Design, lawncaremedia.com. And I have to say thank you to all of you so much. Augusta Lawn Care wouldn't be possible, honestly, to this point without everyone's support. And I know I've made videos about why it's important to make sure that we don't have to get outside capital with Augusta. And it's really been made possible because of everyone supporting the channel and the media side of things, lawncaremedia.com, landscapebusinesscourse.com, lawncarebookkeeper.com, lawncarewebdesign.com. And so I really appreciate all of your support. It has helped us dramatically, and we are continuing to invest in the channel and trying to get more people to help us with the content. Tomorrow is a fire episode of Zero Turn. They're just getting better and better as we start honing it in. And just really hoping to add as much value to all of you and help grow your business. So all the best this coming year. If I don't see you at Landscape Summit, I'll cry. So I hope you can make it. But if you can't, have a great 2020, a very happy New Year, and a Merry Christmas. I just want to say thank you to all of you. I know we gave out some tickets and books and courses today, but to everyone else, anyone that would hear this, I really do appreciate it. Most of what I've done with Augusta and with what we've done here on the channel is because of all of your support. And I really, really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And I'm looking forward to Landscape Summit. We're going to do it in a much, much bigger way than we ever have. It's going to be at least 4 times the size of last year's conference in terms of in person. So really looking forward to it. I appreciate all of you so very much, and I look forward to what 2022 will bring for your business and for this community. Thanks so much. Have a very, very great Christmas Eve. I hope tomorrow you have a great time with your family, and enjoy the next week until the New Year's. Take care.